Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am finally back at it, baking something out of my Love to Bake cookbook. Today we are going to do some focaccia bread, specifically onion, rosemary, and potato focaccia. Now I don't know about you, but I have made focaccia bread. I've done it a couple of times now, but I've never put potatoes in it, so that'll be new. So let's give this a try. So the first thing is I was supposed to boil some, it says a floury potato, such as Morris Piper. I think I said that right. We don't really have that, or at least I could not locate it, but a floury potato. I found on Google that russet is a floury potato, so I have already boiled and mashed my potatoes because I figured you guys didn't want to watch me mash and boil potatoes. So I have 150 grams of our russet potato, which is supposedly a floury potato, and it has been smashed until smooth, and it is cool. I'm assuming that's very important because we do have yeast in this next step, so if your potatoes are hot, I assume you'll kill your yeast. So I am going to use my new stand mixer today, so that's exciting. It probably is going to be way too big for this recipe, but I don't care. So our next step is to tip the flour. I have 500 grams of strong white bread flour today. I'm just going to dump that in. Okay. And you can see I have my dough hooked up to my stand mixer. And then we need 7 grams of our yeast. So I've already got that. Pour that in. All right. And sea salt. We need 1 teaspoon. Yes, 1 teaspoon of some sea salt flakes. Oh, that's a clump. All right, so 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to mix this to combined. New mixer. All right, when it says mix to combine with your dough hook, you're not really going to mix it up all that much. I guess I could just kind of come in here and mix it. But anyway, well, it's mixed. So now I'm going to add the potato. So this is the part where I guess we boil them, we mashed them, and now we're going to stick them in a bread. So I'm just going to add those to my flour right in front of the camera there. All right, and some lukewarm water. So again, that was 150 grams of potatoes, of the floury potato. I've got 325 milliliters of lukewarm water, which is right around 1.25 cups. Okay. And 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And we are using extra virgin olive oil today. So 1, 2, and 3. All right. And it says mix on low speed to combine, and then increase the speed to medium and knead for about 5 minutes until you have a smooth, sticky, elastic dough. So I'm going to do that. It is for sure sticky, and it is pretty elastic. Smooth is definitely a descriptor I would use. So, looks like it's good. So this is the thing that I'm having a hard time getting used to with my new mixer, is the fact that I basically have to take it apart to, get the bowl off. Not a big thing, just kind of a little something to note and to get used to. All right, so I have the dough here, you can see. Okay, I'm going to scrape it out onto a lightly floured surface to roll it quickly into a ball and put it in my oil pan. So I've got my scraper here to kind of help me because it is quite sticky. But I mean, focaccia bread, like I said, I've made it before. It does have a sticky dough, which is the first time you do it really quite weird. I probably should have oiled my scraper. This is maybe a little stickier than I was ready for. Basically, it just says to roll it in a ball. Quickly shape into a ball. So I probably should put a little bit more flour on here, but I didn't. Okay. Okay, now I do have my oiled bowl already prepared. So let's get that ready. Okay. Yeah, it's really sticky dough. Anyway, okay, so I've got lots of oil in the bowl so that it won't stick to the bowl. Now I am going to cover this and leave it to rise for about an hour or until it is doubled in size.
Okay, so while the focaccia bread, the dough itself, is rising, I do get to go ahead and start working on the toppings. So if it looks like I've been crying, I have been. I had to slice 2 onions for this next step. So that's why it looks like I do. That happens to me every time. I just cannot slice an onion without crying. Anyway, so I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of our olive oil to my pan here. And then I'm just going to put my onions in it. It doesn't necessarily say to wait for the pan to heat up or the oil to heat up. It just says add onions and cook, stirring occasionally. Now, it also doesn't say anything about the type of onions. It just says 2 onions, thinly sliced. What kind of onions? How big of an onion? Nothing. Okay, so I have no idea. So if you see me later not putting all of these onions on the bread, don't be surprised. Because this is a lot of onion, and I have a vague suspicion, especially, I mean, look at how much is going in my pan. I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to cook them all. I had a vague suspicion that an American onion is bigger than a British onion. I mean, that's a lot in that pan already. Yeah. I'm going to go, that's more like one plus onion. I did go with a yellow onion because, again, it doesn't say. I don't know if it really matters, but I just thought I would go middle of the road.
So I'm just going to cook these until, stirring occasionally for about 10 minutes until soft. Everybody's seen an onion cook before, right? All right. Also, so while the onions are cooking, so I'm just going to stir them occasionally. I also need to cook some new potatoes. So we're not done with the potatoes. We're actually going to put potatoes on top of our focaccia bread. So new potatoes, I kind of had some issues figuring out what exactly a new potato was, but it says small new potato. We grew some potatoes in our garden this year, so I'm just going to use those because some of them were quite small, and I just pulled them out of the ground, so they're new. I don't know, like it was just kind of a weird thing that I couldn't really find much information on. So anyway, I think we grew German butterballs. I think that's what the potatoes were. So I'm going to just use these. So I've got 400 grams of small new potatoes, and I'm just going to boil them in some salted water. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of salt to my water real quick. Okay. Yeah. So, and we're going to boil them whole. I mean, they're little, so they shouldn't take too long. But it does say to boil them for 10 to 15 minutes until just tender. So I'm probably not going to, well, this water isn't hot yet. So I'm going to put them in and boil my potatoes. Okay, I think my onions are done. They're looking pretty soft, pretty tender. So I'm just going to turn them off and then take them off the heat. I just need them to cool before I put them on top of the bread. Okay. Okay, it's been about an hour since I had my focaccia dough starting to rise. So I'm just going to look at that. Ooh, definitely has doubled in size. You can see the oil coming up the side from where I oiled the bowl. And it's, I mean, from the other focaccias that I've done, it doesn't necessarily matter how much oil, honestly, you put on it because it will soak it all up, essentially, is what the book I used on the other one said. So anyway, I think it'll be fine. I did go ahead and oil my 9x13 pan. So all I've got to do is just kind of dump it in there. So it should kind of slide right out. There we go. Because there is enough oil on my bowl. Okay, and now I do want to pull it to the edges or press it to the edges. Because the other one, you don't want to you don't want to stretch it and pull it. That's the other focaccia bread recipe I've used. It just says basically to make it fill the pan. So I'm kind of using some information from another recipe I've made before. But anyway, all right. Now I am going to let this rise for another hour. So I'm going to cover it back up again and let it rise for another hour. As far as my potatoes that I was boiling, they finished up. They got tender to the touch. I did start draining them and they are cooling. And as soon as they are cool, I'm going to cut them so that we're ready to put them on top of the bread when that is doubled in size. Okay, I have got all the potatoes nice and cut. I mean, that is probably not quite 2 millimeters, but it is as close as I can get without cutting myself. What we needed to do here is just spread our potatoes and our onions on top of our focaccia. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. Now, I just need to top this. So we're just going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of olive oil over the dough and gently press with my fingertips to make those dimples. So again, like I said earlier, I've made focaccia and I put so much oil on top and it didn't come out like weird. It's not like it over oiled the bread. I think focaccia is kind of forgiving like that. There you go. I love the little dimples you make. So anyway, so there's my dimples. You do kind of knock out the air in them while you're doing that. So now I'm going to scatter my sea salt over. I'm just going to pinch. I put it in here on purpose. I don't have flakes. I just have like sea salt. It just won't show up as obvious on the thing, which is fine with me. And put all of our onions on. So I'm just going to kind of arrange the potatoes and the onions how I see fit. I think I'll do the potato or the onions first just to kind of make sure they're spread out. Because, if you get a little too much onion, it could be a mouthful. And again, I don't think I'm going to use all this. This is a lot of onion to put on a 9x13 bread. Maybe I'm just not as onion-aholic as the Brits are. I don't know. Because, I mean, I've got pretty much every surface on this already covered with onion. And I've still got onion in the pan. Now, I'm not going to let it go to waste. Okay, I'll save it and put it on something else later. But use it in dinner. All right, there we go. So now let's put our potatoes on it. Again, this also seems like a lot of potato to put on this, but it said 150 grams. That I know I'm right on. It just seems like a lot of potato. I'm very skeptical on the amount of potato here. This is a lot of potato. You don't really see the bread. I'm going to do it the way the recipe says because I know that it's supposed to be 150 grams. But if I am a little suspicious or if, later I say it's too much potato, I'm just going to say I told you so. So don't use as much. But anyway, for the sake of the recipe, I'm going to use this. And then I'm going to sprinkle the rosemary on top. Rosemary is very potent. I mean, I was cutting it off earlier because, again, we also grew this in our garden or a planter box. And I've never really used rosemary on anything, but it smells very potent. And it's nice. Anyway, so it's kind of fresh. Potatoes from our garden, rosemary from our garden. I didn't grow onions. I wish I would have. All right, so now I'm just going to let this sit as is for about 20 minutes. I just need to rest uncovered, and then I'm going to heat up my oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 430 degrees Fahrenheit, so that when I am at my 20 minutes, I'm ready to go. Okay, it's been 20 minutes, so I am going to get my focaccia bread in the oven. Again, 430 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to let this bake for about 20 to 25 minutes till puffed up and golden brown. Okay, I'm going to get the bread out of the oven. I think it's done. Okay, now it said to get it out. I mean, it looks really good. It said to wait till it was golden brown. It's just not browning very as much as like I would expect it to. It's been in there for about 37 minutes. You want to say hi? Say hi. Okay. So I pulled it out after about 37 minutes instead of the 20 to 25. It was nowhere near done at 20 minutes. So I'm hoping it's not too dry. I don't imagine it will be, but we'll see. Does it look good? I still think some of that extra potato on the top caused it to just not bake right. So we'll see. But anyway, does it look good? You think it looks good? Yeah? All right. Well, we'll let it cool. I'm probably going to pop it out of the tin here because I don't like to let it cool in the tin. And then we'll try some later. Sound good? All right, guys. This is my favorite part of these videos, is tasting. I like baking too, but all right. There it is. It looks really good. I wish it did brown up a little bit more on the top because it does look noticeably paler than the sides. But it smells good. It looks done. Like I cut it, and it looks done, or at least it looks like the other stuff I've done. I do think it was a lot of potatoes and a lot of onions. I mean, I didn't even use all the onions that I had sauteed, and I did not want to put all of those potatoes on top, but I was going by the recipe. So it is what it is. But yeah, I was cutting, the potatoes are falling off, and focaccia is kind of cool in the sense that you can put anything on it and it kind of, proves around it and kind of holds it in place. So I would put less potatoes probably on next time if I made this again. Personal preference, maybe. But let's give it a taste and see if that's truly the thing. Try to make sure I get some onions and potato. It's very good. The potato in the bread is really interesting. I don't know. I know there's like a meat and potatoes kind of thing. I don't know. There's not like, I want some different flavor in there. Like in the potato and the bread kind of stay, I don't know, they're kind of melt, like a single note maybe is the best way. Let me get one more bite, see if I just got too much potato or something. No, kind of the same. It's good. It's not my favorite. There's just too much potato. And maybe that's just because I'm not used to biting into focaccia bread and tasting potato. I mean, if you like potatoes, my brother would absolutely adore this. But anyway, it's good. It's interesting. It took a good 4 hours, like start to finish, to do this. So it says hands-on 20 minutes plus rising. But then you're boiling potatoes twice. You're sauteing. If you only have hands-on for 20 minutes, you are impressive. I'm going to say that. But anyway, yeah, I like focaccia bread. I would probably just not do this focaccia bread again. It's too much potatoes. That's just me. But I'm glad you joined me on my latest bake on my Great British Baking Show, Love to Bake. I sometimes have a hard time saying that one. I don't know why. But yeah, if you liked this video, you made it this far, great. Give it a thumbs up, even subscribe, and go check out some of my other ones. Either this is video number 30 out of this book, or I'm really darn close. I just have to double check. It's been a while. So maybe this is 30. Yay. I'm not, I'm like one shy. But yeah, so go check out some of the other videos, and I hope that I will see you next time. So see you next week.